Hi, I'm Connor Rives, and this is the I-FormNation podcast. Today, we're going to be doing an individual segment. I'm just going to talk about the recent news with Russell Wilson trade to the Broncos. And as a Raiders fan, I'm just going to pretty much whine about it for a minute. So, obviously, Russell Wilson traded to the Broncos in exchange for Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, Noah Fant, two first-round picks, two second-round picks, and a fifth-round pick. So, a lot of good movement for both sides. I think the Broncos definitely needed to get a franchise quarterback, somebody elite to fill in with their team. They have a really good roster all around. They're really well built. So I think all they needed really was that elite quarterback for them to be a contender for the Super Bowl. And Russell Wilson is certainly that guy. And he's proven it time and time again that even with a bad team, he can still win some football games. And this past year, he had a really bad team and a lot of injuries, as always with Seattle. So there was a lot of problems on that end. And I mean, but he was still able to pull out 5 games. And with that roster, there are very few quarterbacks that are going to win 5 games. So with the Broncos offense, I think he's looking at a really good young core that he's going to be playing with. And, with Sutton, Judy, Patrick, and Javonte Williams, who I love. He's an incredible running back. He's going to be really good next year. Obviously, losing Noah Fant out of the offense is going to maybe cause some problems. You still have Alberto. He's still a dog. And a pretty good O-line, which is something that you can't say for Russell Wilson over the course of his career. Hasn't really had an elite offensive line, and I wouldn't call them elite, but I'd say they're one of the better in the league. So now, how does this affect the league? So obviously, let's talk about the NFC West first. The NFC West is just flustered at the quarterback position right now. Obviously, a 49ers situation, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen there. They're trying to move Jimmy Garoppolo, and nobody knows if that will actually happen. And then Trey Lance is the future there. Obviously, Matthew Stafford's the guy in LA, but nobody knows how long that he's going to be playing for. So in a few years, it could be a little bit of a problem. And Kyler Murray, I mean, all the drama that's been going on recently with him and the Cardinals and people questioning his leadership, it's a big issue, but obviously he'll be back and he'll be their quarterback for a pretty long time. But for Seattle, they have a lot of holes to fill this offseason. And obviously they're going to be looking to rebuild. This was a rebuild move. They're not going to trade away their entire franchise in Russell Wilson if they're not trying to rebuild. So this is a rebuild time for them. And they understand that they're in one of the best divisions in football, and they've got no chance of winning their division. So they're going full rebuild. They traded away their franchise quarterback. They understand what the situation really is. And that is exactly what the Raiders need to do. As a Raiders fan, I'm looking at this division. We've got Patrick Mahomes and a really good Chiefs offense with still solid defense. Obviously, Tyrann Mathieu is going to look into the free agency, try to see what other offers he can get. I still think he's going to go back to the Chiefs. Then you have Justin Herbert and the Chargers with a really good offense. If Mike Williams stays, then they are looking like, honestly, one of the better receiving cores in the league with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and a solid defense there with some stars in Bosa and Derwin James. And then you're looking at a Broncos team now with Russell Wilson at the helm and Javonte Williams at running back, who's a really good young running back. And then they still got a solid defense. And obviously the rumors going around that Von Miller might be coming back to Denver, despite them trading him earlier in the year. So he would love to come back. I think it would make sense for him to come back now. They're a contender now automatically with Russ. So they're in really good shape. Now, if you're the Raiders, you got Derek Carr, who's a really good quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback in the league, and he is really good in those clutch time situations. You got a young running back, Josh Jacobs, who just can't stay healthy. The receivers are scattered. Darren Waller is still one of the best tight ends in the league, but he's starting to hit his injury phase where he's going to start falling off here soon due to injuries. And then a kind of broken down O-line, a pretty miserable linebacker core, and a just scattered defensive back system. Pretty good safeties in Moehrig and Abram, but the corners, they can't stay healthy, and none of them are consistent enough to be considered any good. Now, obviously, the pass rush, Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue, still incredible two players there, and the Raiders are looking to extend Max Crosby this offseason, and obviously talking to Derek Carr. But now you need to look at the future, and you need to really focus in on the fact that it's not going to happen this year or next year or the year after. You're in a division now where those three teams that are in the division with you are going to make the playoffs next year and the year after and the year after that. These teams are going to be battling for the division title. And as a team that doesn't have the star power that those teams have, you have to reset. You have to rebuild. There's no other option in this situation. That is the only move. And Derek Carr, you can get some significant trade value out of him. I wasn't an advocate for them moving Derek Carr this offseason before this Russell Wilson trade, but now, in light of the necessary rebuild, he is where we get our most draft capital, and that's we need to move him. And Max Crosby, I still think he is the centerpiece for our defense. So he's still young. He's still the guy that I think we want to build our defense around. So I think we keep him around. I think we do extend him. But overall, we just need to completely reset. And I think Josh Jacobs should be on the move. I think some teams would trade third, fourth round pick for him. He's a really good running back when he's healthy. When he's healthy is the problem, though. And it's time to just reset, rebuild, and go back to the draft. There's some really good offensive linemen, and there's some really good defensive players overall in this draft. So I think the Raiders focus there. And it's, with a really powerful AFC, as well as just being one of the most powerful divisions in the NFL, there's nothing the Raiders can do right now other than reset and focus on the future. And that's all I have. So thank you if you listened, and we'll see you in the next pod.